He's from Chicago, yeah.
So he started to say that um, the Holy One told him, this is what I have to verify the story. This is what I understood. The Holy One told him that he should write Nefesh Chaim because the Tanya is out, negative, whatever. So, so Al-Hanan said, when he started putting Nefesh Chaim, and somebody told him, if you really want to understand Nefesh Chaim, you have to learn Tanya. So he learned Tanya, then he realized that you need to have society. The Tanya is the
Спасибо for
that's what
a video.
That's what he said.
No, piše lože.
I don't know. I never heard it, so you have to look it up.
So then I spoke to Amirazov today. I wanted to see if you know any insight, because I called him, but he didn't.
Співак в М6.
And he said that the German government died the same year that the time it came out. Absolutely. The question is
The accuracy.
The accuracy
of his story.
Yeah, he wasn't that much longer later. He was, I think he was nifter Tafkov Nun Ches. The Gra Simchas Torah maybe. Sukkis Tafkov Nun Ches. The Tanya was published first. Tafkov Nun Zayin maybe.
No, the thing is, the Rav had the thing that the Vegas, whether it's a Gra, it's a scientific era, or two others. Let's text me the three names. There's a Vegas there.
Oh, the Gra signed.
No, the Nefesh, but there's Nefesh Chaim who didn't sign, or two others who refused to sign. It's not clear that it's Nefesh Chaim who did not sign.
Oh, that's what he said?
Yeah.
They say a story from one of the guy in that time, Rabbi Fall Hamburger, that he was asked to sign.
Yeah.
And they told him that, the Malach Hashem, he signed the Gra. He said that we find by the Akedah that says that first Hashem told him, Kachnos binchas, yichitcha, shahafta. Then at the ending it says that a Malach came. The Malach told him that he Atishach Yad Chalanar. Why first the Eibush and the Malach? So in order to shech someone, you need the Eibush should say it. Say to stop, it's enough a Malach. To say to say that a Malach said I should sign, you need the Eibush himself should sign the Chedem. We know that the Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe writes that very highly of the Vilna Gaon, and he writes that the Vilna Gaon they were choishish at that time. They're very concerned. There was a lot of malshinus, and they were very concerned and worried about what this new movement was going to happen. So they did what they at that time, based on information that they understood, that they were worried. In Chabad was not like certain other Hasidisim that were a little more extreme, but we always learned to Gra Svarim. We didn't have a problem. There was Hashkafa for itself, and then there's the learning for itself. The Rebbe quotes the Gra all the time, and
especially the
Gra in the Haggadah he quotes them, and he quotes them in later on in Sichis, in the Aris Mamad Premise of the Sichis. There's hundreds of times that there are notes referring to Svarim and the Gra. There were certain Hasidim that, not from Chabad, but they didn't want to learn in the Vilna Shulchan Aruch, because it has, which all the Shulchan Aruchs today follow that setup. They have on it the Bir Hagra on the Shulchan Aruch. They don't want to learn that one, use it, because it has the Gra. But we didn't have this problem. Now, Rabbi Isai, tonight we're learning Hilchas B'tzias HaPas, Kuf, Samach Zayin.
Pitch.
Yeah. No. Page. Page is tough. No, later.
Later, we did already. Tough noon.
Tough Nun Aleph, I think.
No.
I think Tough Nun Aleph. I think we're holding
It's fit.
maybe a Tess.
Which is
Maybe we do it Ches.
That's five.
Maybe it's Ches, yeah.
Afternoon, Alec.
Eish Tafel
עמוד
Aleph.
דף נון א'.
Afternoon, Alec.
מקום שבטם הולך לצפון לברוך אחת מצווה.
All quote Makar Shekriyasa May Elos Tzarf Achas. Mitzvah She'echem Mevarechakum. Anytime that we are sitting together with a Kriyus, like we spoke last week, only when you're sitting together with a Kriyus, then it's a mitzvah that one person should make a bracha for everyone. V'loi kol echa b'fnei atzmoi, mishum shenemar v'roiv am hadras melech. Kol mokem rashoyim him l'koya yachal al dash sh'loy litzdarif. Even though it's a mitzvah that one should make a bracha for everyone, you are allowed to sit down in mind not to become a tzorif, and then you're not mitzorif. You're not considered one kriyas, and then you can each make your own bracha. So based on this, you don't find today the people sitting down on a meal during the week. You're sitting down to a meal during the week, that one person should make a bracha for everyone. Everyone makes their own brachas on their food. Not have a ma'aseh pity of sitting by a shir together the Sunday morning, have a breakfast here.
Everybody make a bracha.
Everyone make their own bracha. Why not? Everyone's being keveya biyachad at one table. Why shouldn't they make one person? B'reivam hadas melech. One make the bracha. Everyone answer amen. We'll yaitz it together. B'reivam hadas melech. So Alter Rebbe, you're right, and it's taka mitzvah to do that, but there is a way out to it. And since there's a loophole, we're going to use the loophole. And to explain why. What's the loophole? The loophole is that when you sit together, you have in mind that we are not joining together. We are not one group. If you're not one group, then you are allowed to separate, to say your own bracha. So since you're allowed to do this loophole, we're going to use this loophole for the following reason. Therefore became the minhag today that everyone makes the bracha themselves.
Even Shabbos, when the guy make a moitzi, then we still make a bracha by yourself.
1 minute to the Gea Moitzi. So here we are not nizhar because people were not being careful to talk, not to talk in between. So the person Balabai used to be making a bracha, and afterwards people would talk before they got the piece. So when he go achshav,
everyone make
the bracha. The kivan shenahagu kain hareze ki'ilu hoisa daitim befeidish b'kriusam yachad shekoiv dashiloy litzaref obturim mihidur zeh. You have a hider v'reivam hadas melech to mahader the melech by doing a bracha together. It's more of a chasha, everyone does together. But since you're keveya, al dashiloy litzaref, you're potter from this. Now, you're going to ask, what about Shabbos? Shabbos, everyone does, the Baal Bayis does say Hamoitzi everyone together. The answer, the Chorah, is that over there you have to hear Lachem Mishnah. And the same thing by Kiddush. You need his wine. So therefore, we do it all together. And by the way, in a Chanami, the Rebbe has a letter where he writes that someone asked him, how can we see that the minhag ganash is that Friday night, that by Kiddush, people listen and they don't make their own Be'er Pri Hagafen. They drink and they don't make their own. But Shenkin by day, they all make their own bracha. Someone asked this to the Rebbe. By Hamaitzi. So he says, the chiluk in Kiddush and Hamaitzi is like this. He brought an example. By Kaisha bracha, and Matzah Shabbos and Matzah Yantiv, so the Rebbe would give out wine to the Olam. The Rebbe made a Be'er Pri Hagafen. Did you rely on that Be'er Pri Hagafen that by the time you get to your place online,
No.
you're gonna use that Be'er Pri Hagafen? No, you made your own Be'er Pri Hagafen because you had a nice shmooze on the way and you were talking to your chaver and you were no, and there was some pushing and shoving, and things were going along. So you didn't exactly. So al derech zeh by hamaitzi, since it takes time for the albayis to cut, dip in the salt, and hand it around the table. So the Rebbe could be that the minig became that everyone should make their own bracha because people sometimes forget and they'll talk in between, and they're not yoitza with the bracha of the albayis. But l'chatchila, the setup is that the Balbais does say Hamaitzi out loud for everyone because you want to be Yotzei Lecha Mishnah. And as well Kiddush, you want to be Kiddush Yotzei Leyayin. So there's a reason why. But you won't find it ever during the week. You won't find that. Or by a Shalosh Shuddis, right? You don't have by a Shalosh Shuddis where one person makes the bracha for everyone by the Shalosh Shuddis. It's not needed by the Shalosh Shuddis. It's not necessary. Only when you be trying to be Yotzei Mitzvah. So therefore, this minik stopped. We no longer are sitting together and all making brachas together, but that's melech because we're concerned that there weren't certain people that were talking in between till they got a bite of whatever food you were serving. So therefore, the minik will stop this. We're not doing this anymore the way it was since Chazal. There was a certain thing with the balabayis makes a bracha, everyone answers amen. No more. You each make your bracha on your own, so there shouldn't be a hefsek in it. You're keveya together. There's a inyan of Hanas Melech. You're right, and there's a mitzvah of Hanas Melech. But when it's either we have in mind that we want to separate, we want to be separate and not be kavod together. We're going to sit at the same table, but as if we have in mind that we are not joining together as one unit for the mitzvah because of this chashash, and therefore we don't have a kriyas together.
Before this minute came into effect, would that have affected that whoever it was who made Moitzi or made Kiddush, that they could also bench and everyone else would be Yotzei on the bench?
Yeah.
But he has to make kavana if you make a motzi for everybody.
Yeah.
He has to make kavana to be yotzei everybody.
Yeah, so the Albayis picks up the challah, the kiddush. He's having a mind to might see everyone. But we don't do this a whole week. You never pick up your challah by your dining room table, by your supper, middle of the week. The family gets together. You don't pick up the bread or the pasta and you say, and go straight and eat the pasta without making a bracha. Or you're in the restaurant, or Sheva brachas. No one ever does such a thing. I read in Shulchan Aruch all about this. This is the reason over here it took time till we got to Sif Yud Ches, where it says that things changed. Because of the chashash that people are going to talk in between hefsek, we don't do that anymore. We're not going to rely. We do rely by Hamoitzi and Kiddush because Pashat we need for the mitzvah, tzarech mitzvah.
I had a problem where I had a lot of people in my table.
That you couldn't give everyone.
I had to cut 5 or 6 challah to slice it.
It took a long time till they each got.
I was waiting and everybody.
Mitzvah Hashem, soon you're going to have also again a big suda.
That's a shame.
Now you're doing the Shalosh Shuddis in Shul.
I'm trying to.
Okay. Sif Yutes. B'nei Chabura she'ein b'neihem balabayis oy shekulam balabatim. If there's a group of sitting together eating a meal, there is no one person who's the balabayis.
All big shot.
They're all coming together to get together for a luncheon. Or they're all balabatim. It's all they're all equal balabatim in the mukim. Gadol b'chachma shebehem hu abetzeh. Who do you give the honor to make that maitzi? Again, though, that was the minig then. They had one person being beitzeya. So who did you give it to? The gadol b'chachma. If the balabayis is there, you give it always to the balabayis. But if not the balabayis, so everyone's balabatim, then the gadol b'chachma abetzeh mishum kvoidoi, oi noisin the shus shemiyishiyitza, or he, the gadol b'chachma, could give it a shus to whoever he wants to make the bracha. Shavin, if they're all equal status, no one's gadol b'chachma. Ve'echad mem koyin, it's like Dimoy. Koyin. Ve'im koyin ama oretz, v'hu tamad chacham. If the koyin is an ama oretz, and there is a tamad chacham, who koydim lay? Tamad chacham is before the koyin ama oretz. Also, the The Chacham can't say, "Oh, you're a Kohen. You should go first," because he's an Amoritz. You can't be Mazalzel in Elim came Moichalei and Naisim Lasharit Naisim Lashus Lavada Beloi Kuhunasai. You hear? Unless he gave him the shos to make the bracha,
Not for Bitcoin.
not for right, not because he's a kohen. You gave him the shos because of you want to give him a nice guy,
Everybody knows he's a Cohen.
but not because he's a kohen.
Who you
fooling?
You're fooling him. Everybody knows he's a Cohen. He's a Amarit. And say, okay, we give you the bracha not because you are Cohen. It's
Yeah, okay, you have to mean it. Because the bezoyin had Torah. The reason is that Torah is a greater maila than kahuna. Torah is a greater maila. Now, weiter. Ve'em ha-koyin gam kin talmid chacham, el she'Yisrael gadol mimenu. Toiv lakti bila koyin, aber ein echir bedavar. If you have a koyin who's also talmid chacham, and he's not as great as the Yisrael talmid chacham, it's better to makdim the koyin, but it's not a chiyuv. V'makdima, if he is makdim the koyin who's a talmid chacham, ma'idich yamim, you will receive it minichis yamim. Im yesh beineihem balabayis, who koydem afilu v'koyin talmid chacham. Balabayis comes before everyone. Kedei sheyiftzeh ba'ayin yafa. In order he should be b'tzeya ba'ayin yafa, since the balabayis so feel comfortable cutting a large slice for the whole oilam. Because remember, we're talking about the b'tzeya is the one who has the loaf by him, the shalim. He's cutting. So better the balabayis, because he'll cut ba'ayin yafa. And someone who's not the balabayis doesn't feel comfortable cutting the challah into big pieces for everyone. He doesn't feel like he's allowed to go take the balabayis' food and just give it out like that.
For bringing last night, the person responsible should be the one to make a moitzi.
Maisa, we don't do this anymore. I'm saying this minig of one person making a moitzi. I'll tell you where it does come into place. Shabbos again. Let's say Shabbos, you're together in different places. Who gets to be the balabais is the one that cuts it. But what happens if you have someone else there? All right, some other people that are there. If there's no balabais, a bunch of people together at a table, who are you going to get? And there's only one lechem mishnah. So who are you giving the lech to make the lechem mishnah? Here it will be negaya this din. Let's say people sometimes they have your children come to you, or what do your children do? Do they you go to eat by your children? Do you make that mitzvah? Your children make that mitzvah. Who makes first? You know, there's the beitzeya. That is the beitzeya.
That's the honor, the beitzeya.
This is dinim, by the way, the same dinim in the Geya Birchas Hamazon. Who gets the bench Birchas Hamazon? Same thing.
When you sit by the table and you invite your shver and shviga to come for Shabbos, you make a moitzi. Who get the first slice, you or your shviga?
It's
Get the question, Benti.
Koch nefesh. Teicha kalateda.
What happened if your father there and your shviga there? You give your father, you give your shviga.
You have a doubt?
Father, sure. The shviga says, I don't come all the time here. Give it to me. Would Abayim come first?
The same halachas, Abayis, I'm looking over it later on. That all these halachas is the same idea when it comes to benching. Same idea.
By a coin.
We're talking about beitzeya.
By a coin.
All of these dinim, who's lahaktim? First, the balabayis comes first, right?
Then the chacham, then the kohen.
Now,
When is it the Friday night, the dafka, the Barabai should bench? The other time is not necessary, but Friday night dafka. Or it's a Bakim Amina.
something says something somewhere about it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where it comes from. Now, okay, weiter. Sagt Afshe kedimus koyin hu min ha-toira, yekal mokim min ha-stam, moichalei ha-koyin b'chvoidei. B'shvil zeh. How could it be that a balabayis comes before the koyin? You have a chiyuv min ha-toira to makim the koyin. How could a balabayis precede the koyin, Gabi, who is the beitzeya? He says, min ha-stam, the koyin is moichel him. ואף אם מויכלוי אין לוי קדימה בבציע נגד בעל הבייס, שביד הבעל הבייס שלא יליתן ללכו כלל, שאין זה ממשפטי הכהונה להכילם בחינם.
You are against me, so.
Right? Even if he says over here, a kohen comes to your house, shkoyach, you have to be maktim him. But you have no chiv to feed him. When it says I have to be maktim a kohen for various things, it doesn't mean I have to give him food for free. If he has money, let him pay. I'm giving him to eat. I'm not mechuyev to give him free food by my meal. We're giving him free food. I'm inviting him to be a guest. So because I have no chiv to feed him, there's no chiv that I have to make sure that he to give him to bench to make the bracha first. Even if he works for you, so you have to feed your worker. And I don't have to give him right now on the spot and give him somewhere else the food. Benching is different because after he ate already, now everyone is mechuyev to bench because he already ate. Before you ate, you're not mechuyev to give him. Now that you ate, everyone's mechuyev to bench. So you have to give the kohen first. If he's not moichel.
What when the Barabai is a Kohen, but he's a Amaretz, and he has a guest, a Kohen, but he's a Mitchoch. You have to give it to him.
Again?
The Barabais is a Kohen, but he's a Maoritz. But then he has a guest, it's a Kohen, but he's a Talmid Chochem. He must give it to him.
Know the din.
He must give it to him, or he could say, I'm a Kohen also, as I'm taking it.
Maybe it's a muzzle, you say.
Yeah. See, but see, as a person, don't have to give it to him food. Don't have to feed you.
The Chorah, the Balabais kohen is before. Because Balabais is over a Chochem.
Over a Chochem. Even though they both learning, but.
L'chora. V'im ba'alach le'kaber l'gadim menu rashoy. V'chein nahagu. Very important. Even though the Balabayis is first, because the Balabayis is going to give an ayin yafa, food out. Well, Maisa, if he wants the Balabayis to give cover to someone greater than him, he's allowed to. And that is the minig. The minig is you're not going to sit by a table with someone older, someone more chashiv than you, and he's a rav, he's a Rosh Hashiva. You're not going to give him to make the hamoitzi.
Right.
So the minig is it's Balabayis is mevater because he v'chein achosim b'yem chasanasei u'koydim lakoyel of tzaya af b'yesham gadol v'koyin im shasudi b'shvilei b'yadei l'tchoysa in kadima negdei l'shum adam. The opposite now he says. As well, a chasan on the day of his chasana, he gets to make the berachas hamoitzi on the challah. And even though there's someone here greater, his Rosh Hashiva is sitting on the table with him in the mizrach, up in front over there. He can't say here, we don't give it to the Rosh Hashiva. His father can't say, "Oh, give to the Rosh Hashiva to make the hamaitzi." No, the whole Suda was b'shvil the Chassan. If he wants, he could say, "Zay gesund, I don't want the Suda." It was his choice to go to the chuppah. No, ein kadim negli shum adam. No one comes before him.
Rabbi, by my niece's wedding years ago,
And the Chassidim
the chief rabbi, Rabbi Yosef, was there.
Mm-hmm.
But my nephew, my brother-in-law, was Dayan, the Moroccan. So he wanted to do the wedding according to the Moroccan. They invite Rabbi Yosef. So the Chazan told him, "My father is here. He's Dayan, and I have to do it the brachot according to Morocco." Rabbi Yosef, "No, my bracha I make in Iraqi." He said, "No, don't do it." So Rabbi Yosef walked out.
Wow.
Because he honors his father is big Dayan. Da Haredit as Faradit. He's till today. My sister passed away yesterday.
What's the name?
Rosilio, Rav Rosilio.
Mm.
Rav Rafael Rosilio. So Rav Odia said, I wasn't in the wedding, but they told me. Said that he said, if I don't do it my way, I'm getting out. Tell him, no, my father is here, I have to honor him.
My way or the highway.
It's unbelievable.
He wasn't Meichel HaKoide.
He said his father has to tell him.
Midas Anavahi, Sha'af Habitzeya, Hu Hagodel, Noitel Rishos Mikol HaChabura. Ve'oimer Betchila Rishos Moirai Veraboisai. Ki ilu him gedoylim imenu, v'lahem no levarech. That's where comes the whole mocker to say, Aboisai, yeah. And that, by the way, we're talking here now, Benegei HaMoitzi. Benegei Bracha Rishoina. Same idea. The Nago little Shus Mikoyin, the Birchas Hamazon. And the minig is to take a shus from the koyin for Birchas Hamazon. V'chein sherei mitzvah lahagdimoi. Can also the vara b'leila shus say I'm kain megadol mena b'chachma. Unless you're megadol mena b'chachma, you should allow the koyin to be first. V'kol mokim einim moyel masha'im b'reshus. And leinasin lehak koyin shus. Can't say, but a shus hakoyin, the koyin doesn't give it a shus.
Ein kan kohen.
Ein kan koyin. What is it supposed to mean? Ein kan koyin.
I once thought ein kan shishi.
If the kohen goes out to the outside rooms, he's saying kan kohen. Look around the room. He's not here. He's here. How can you say ain't kan kohen? Ein amasum rashaim litem ashitem abetzeya kegoyin him reitzim lachtich min halechem shabatzim abetzeya v'litem kohen shitem hu. You cannot cut from the loaf till the one who made the bracha tastes the piece. And who leitim klal kohen shitem, he shouldn't give them before
he tests.
Shalahafsik b'shia sasina zubin bracha lachila sheitzer shehei einam meshayim litem asheneislam ad shitim hu tchilam. Then I'll let it taste anything before he tastes. So he has to taste first.
He made the bracha. Yes.
Yeah. If kol echad oichem mikakarein zekukim lekika she'al b'tzeir hashayim litem mikikareseim kadishitim b'tzeir mikakare.
That's what happened in our days.
If everyone has their own bracha.
The chosan has a big chal forever. Nobody waits for him. Everybody has a small chal and he eats by himself.
So if everyone has their own loaf, their own bilkala, you were hearing, we're talking in a case, by the way, where everyone's hearing the same bracha amaytzi. Right. You don't have to wait for him because you have your own. You should wait till most people already answered amen. Shabbos beyond to so at least if they have a subin lecha mishnah, what's the mashim they would say? Also Hashem to say and Shabbos and Yom since you need to have lecha mishnah, you're not allowed to taste part of your challah in front of you before you heard the hamaitzi. Shemleiking the cooking haim the kikar shelfnei abitzeya. Lots is behen yidei chayvus lecha mishnah. Otherwise, you don't have your lecha mishnah. You can't taste your bread until you're yotzeh from the balabais. V'gam b'choyel tzarech liyas afneim kikar shalim. K'mayel afnei abetzeya. Shemleikin skukim the kikar shalim shafnei abetzeya. Also during the weekday, kim sheish al shulchan pas shlema. Also say al prusa. if you don't have a shleim in front of you, you only have a slice.
Wait to
You have to wait and to take a piece from the shalom.
Right.
Rimba habit say Allah cover the misha gadol meno sheyitim chila rishus biyadei. If the Beitzaya wants to give cover to someone else to taste first, he's allowed to. So they could taste first. Yesh chok and some are
I guess it doesn't need a Lechem Mishnah. We're not talking about Shabbos. Being Baba Tzeh Achlok. Shabbos you need Lechem Mishnah.
Right. No, yeah, you can. No, I guess it means from the actual bread. The Beitzaya is holding onto his challah.
Right.
He can give it a shus to someone else to be toyim. Now, some are arguing this, you're not allowed. Habitseya who poishit yadi tchila l'kaira lechel. Well, lachle kovim mishagodim and ashoy. That's been a gay of the bread. What about the food, the plate? The one who made hamaitzi, he has the right to first take from the plate to eat. He wants, he can give cover to the gadol. But say noisim prusel chekol echad v'echad, v'lifnei kol echad v'ha'acher noitel b'yadai, alom kena oichol oval.
Change the whole style.
V'chol elu mimenhagi derech shenagol chachmi yisrael b's'uda v'shabbos ein ha'velus neheges.
So you could give him by hand.
What does he say? That during the week, the Beitzaya gives to everyone in the
By hand.
What does he do? Gives by hand?
Somebody sitting all the way in the back. You have to go over to him and to give it to him. Well, you said you have to give it in your hand. Can't throw it.
I don't think this is the pshat.
No.
If I'm not mistake, this is the way you have to read it. You have to read it a little differently. He puts the slice in front of him,
Not by hand.
not by hand. He takes it from. And the oval you give directly in the hands.
There's a mitzvah to give food to oven.
Directly.
There's a mitzvah.
This is minhagim that chachmi so anoyig in sudas. And Shabbos ain't avelus nehages.
Therefore, you don't.
And therefore, even if the person is an oval,
you don't have to give him by hand.
you don't have to give him by hand. So meaning, lapayil, the minig is that you don't give it by hand. Noisim prusa l'fnei kol echad, v'ha'achar noitel biyadai.
Also, I remember reading somewhere that when you give by hand, it looks like an ears. You're so poor, I have to give you by hand a piece of bread. Put it on the table, on the table.
Now, v'zar habeitzaya shel yizrik chatichas hamaytz ifnei hamesuvim. Don't throw the piece on the table. Also, lizik kapas afil shulchan. You can't throw bread even on a table.
So how come when you go to a tish and the rabbi throw, everybody jump at the kitchen?
Not pass. He throws apples.
Yeah, food.
Apple. They like to throw apples.
Apples? Only apples?
Toy b'zar sheloi la'achil prusas hamtziel anochri v'lebehema hoif mishum kavod habracha. The best to be careful not to give the piece that you were cut for hamaitzi to a goy, to a behema, to a oif, because kavod the bracha. V'yesh la'achla koidim sheyochal pas acheresht in nechelas te'oven. Before you eat any other bread, you should first finish off the piece that you got. Shum chibuv mitzvah. Some say you should save it for the ending of the Suda. Some that want to be yaitzel shitas, you eat part of the frusa that you got, slice that you got from Maitzi, part of the beginning of the meal, part at the ending. This was, by the way, the minig of the Rebbe.
F and F?
The minig of the Rebbe was by the Sudas in his house. And he had a yom tov of Sudas. After he would cut a piece for that Maitzi, he would take the slice and cut it again, and take the half and leave it on the side, and only eat it at the ending of the meal. Because it was yaitza, what he says over here, a yaitza bol shitas to bechiva mitzvah the beginning and the ending of the meal. This I heard from Eli Landau, from Bnei Rosh Hashiva in Kfar Chabad. He wrote it to me once.
The grandchild.
No. The
Rosh Hashiva is the grandchild from Zayd.
No, the son. He's the brother of Moshe Landau.
Well, his father, the one that
Eli Landau. Eli Landau was the son of Rabbi Yankel Landau.
And he was eating by the Rebbe Suda.
He remembers and then he was not on the table, but he was young. He was a bacher.
So the Rebbe used to cut small
piece. He said that he remembered that the Rebbe would. He wrote to me a bunch of minhagim, and I told him about this thing that it comes from this din here. So he told me that was pasha by him, that it's this halacha right here, that Rebbe was being mekayim it by cutting. The Rebbe didn't explain why he was doing it. But Spaj, the Rebbe cut it right away, the slice that he cut for himself, the big piece. He cut it in half. He put a piece aside for the ending of the meal to be yoitze, haroitze, lots of shneim, yoichok tzas b'tchilo, tzas b'seif. And maybe the bacher was serving thought that Rebbe was doing it for some other reason. If the Elilanda knew the halacha, so he was watching, he understood. You have to know what you're watching. There was one time Rabbi Yael Khan told me that once the Rebbe, Shabbos by day, the Meshamash B'Kodesh set up for the Rebbe Chalas. Shabbos by day.
Eunuch?
And it was one of the Shamashim, maybe one of the eunuchs, and he covered it with a challah cover for the Rebbe. The Payil, the Rebbe didn't for some reason didn't wash. And Matzah Shabbos, the Rebbe was having Melava Malka. He sat down, there were two chalas on the table because they were sitting there since the afternoon. So he took the chalas and he made a maitzi. So the shamish who was there by Matzah Shabbos was not the same shamish who was there that day. He went around saying, the Rebbe takes Lechem Mishnah to Lava Malka. So you have to know the whole story. You see how you think you see 100%. I'm telling you, I saw with my own eyes. You can't argue with the person, but you have to know the whole story to know what was the.
I remember one time the Rebbe by Abdullah did not make a boy when summer.
Forgot?
No, he didn't make a boy when summer.
You say.
That's what he said. What happened is the Rebbe didn't have a smell. It was a cough. So he just make the bocher. You're not allowed to make the bocher.
Smell.
But they're already making the stories. You have to know the whole story.
Maybe so they'll say Minik Chabad is not to have. They say in Brisk, the Brisker Rav, they say that before Hanukkah licht, it's so very medayik and hugim in Brisk. So there was a broom in the room. So he said you should take the broom out of the room because they might soon come and say that it's a minig in Brisk to have a broom in the room when you light the Hanukkah. So they say that afterwards the minig became that before you light candles in Brisk, you bring the broom into the room and then you pull it out. So that's the minig, you have to move a broom out of the room. It's the minig in Brisk.
They have a story, I don't know if the Chafetz Chaim or someone, of Melave Malka was 2 containers of milk, and he made from this one. So everybody thought this is not kosher, he made from this one. So the owner of this company that started losing money. So he went to the Chafetz Chaim, or I don't remember which way, he tell him, what happened that Motzei Shabbos? You took from this, you didn't take from this, and now I have no business. So then this container was empty, so I took from the other one. And he tell everybody that's a story. I don't know if it was the Chafetz Chaim, you know the story with the milk?
Yeah, we have a minyan of say.
We're missing one.
The story of the woman that she's trained for Pesach.
Paris, we're missing one.
With the chicken. So she's like her mother and grandmother. They would break like the leg and would fit it in, into the pan. So, but it's the daughter, it's great grandmother. How come you're bending it? Because my grandmother, she went to ask the mother, why did grandma bend it? Because the pan was too small. So the kid already.
Became a minig. Yeah, yeah. A lot of minhagim start this way, you know.
I didn't see that story you said on the red with the left with
The Lechem Mishnah was sitting there Shabbos by day. By Shabbos by day, they put down, prepared for the Rebbe in where he was staying for Shabbos. No, he only did two challahs. So for some reason he didn't make hamaitzi, he didn't make Lechem Mishnah. So he was sitting there. What came Malav Malka, he sat down to wash Malav Malka, and sitting on the table were the two challahs, so he washed in those two challahs. So the Shamish who was there, Malav Malka, he saw the Rebbe has two challahs from Malav Malka. Said, well, the Rebbe takes two Lechem Mishnah from Malav Malka. It was still sitting there on the table. For some reason, the Rebbe didn't make Lechem Mishnah. So he
assume, right?
yeah, Mezainis maybe. So he said that he was yeah. Right, according to that Izal. But the Chabad, they didn't do it, but yeah, you're right. It does say that.
So I'll tell you something. My Rav is Mukabul. Well,
No,
they're hated with a full lot of so he tells the cub and he gives them he doesn't tell them he's from which Suda it is. Each Suda Friday night when Shabbos morning and Shabbos you're all called to Chai Banim and Zainai.